You've got ideas, you've got ambition, you've got no time, or so you think. I'm Marissa Lonick, and I help busy moms with big dreams and no time. Join me each week as I dive into time management strategies, goal setting and achieving framework, and inspiring guests who are juggling mom life, work life, fill in the blank life. Dreams don't work unless you do, and just because you're a mom doesn't mean you can't still make it happen, whatever it means to you. Welcome to the Mama Work It podcast. Hello, mama friends. This week we are diving into a topic that is one of my faves. Not because I enjoy it in any way, shape, or form, but because I know how important it is to understand it and talk through it and get a handle on it if you want to become a better time momager. If you want to feel good so you can do good, if you want to live your best freaking life. And that topic is mom guilt. Now, let's just start by acknowledging mom guilt is a thing we're aware of, a person we're acquainted with, a feeling we have all felt, probably more than we've wanted to. Mom guilt arrives wearing like chunky, clunky jewelry when our babies are born and we're trying to keep the house really quiet and calm. Like she walks around in these obnoxious, hideous heels. Even when the rule in our house is we don't wear any shoes. She's super loud and rude and crazy, and we're just trying to figure out this like postpartum thing and survive as new moms, not sleeping, trying not to cry all day, every day. And then this mom guilt just shows up, super rude, super loud, super obnoxious, and kind of makes our life a little bit harder than it needs to be. Then once our hormones go back to normal and we're better equipped to tame her a bit, maybe convince her to take off those shoes and bangle bracelets, what happens? Our maternity leave ends and we're heading back to work, and she puts a framed photo of herself on our desks as a consistent reminder that she's there. Then we've been able to, let's say, get back in the swing of things at work, and we've covered that photo with our family's gorgeous holiday card. We take a deep breath and we realize we've forgotten entirely about ourselves as we're so caught up getting in the swing of being a working mom. Now we have no idea what a hobby is if it doesn't involve walking with like a stroller or eating pizza at a kid's birthday party. We just have no clue, right? So we decide we're going to do something for ourselves. But as soon as we take out our phones to schedule those plans, what happens? Mom guilt's number is on the screen. Like she's calling, she's texting, she's WhatsApping you. All the reasons why that's probably not a good idea. It feels like as moms, especially working moms, mom guilt is always there, even when you think you have it all under control. It's like a noisy and nosy, I would say, neighbor who moves in next door. It's like being gluten-free and bread being the core ingredient of everything on the table at Thanksgiving dinner, which is your fave holiday. It's like the song Ironic by Alanis Morissette, where everything just sucks. Why do I want to talk about mom guilt on this episode? A few reasons. Number one, when it comes to time management, you can do all the work, get all the clarity, have all the systems in place. But if you haven't managed your mom guilt, you're going to crash and burn in the long term. It's not a sustainable journey or a sustainable lifestyle. Number two, it's taboo. All the moms we see on social media look like they're managing everything amazing and never feel guilt. And that's bullshit. And number three, you don't have to live next door to this horrible neighbor for the rest of your life. You can move, right? You can just sell your house and move. So if you're listening right now and you've never heard of me, or you you aren't regularly tuning into this podcast, let me just give you a quick and dirty definition of what time management is. This is my signature phrase, coined expression, you could say. And what it is time management is learning how to prioritize the things that are important to you in this very, very hectic mom life so you can live your best freaking life guilt-free. That's it. Okay. It's managing your time like the badass mom you are, prioritizing yourself back into it so you can live your best life and not be plagued with all those things that come up, right? All those responsibilities, all that mom guilt, all that stuff that takes up precious space in your mental load real estate. So I feel so strongly that managing mom guilt is important in managing your time as a busy mom that I included an entire section of this in my time management 4-week program. Why? Because guilt often stops us from doing what we want to do. Because guilt can be getting in the way of our happiness. Because guilt can be detrimental to how we're showing up for our kids. And we are going to dive into that here. But for now, I want you to keep in mind, because I know that all of us listening, our collective and ultimate goal is to be a good mom. So what if I told you you were sabotaging this with your mom guilt? Like you are not showing up as the parent, the mom, the wife, the you dream of being because you're letting your guilt get in the way. So first, I want us to understand the fact that mom guilt comes in all shapes and all sizes. It's not just about spending time with your kids or being the Pinterest crafty mom or the room mom or the PTA mom. Guilt affects us in many different areas of our lives. It can be the guilt that you're not performing at your job. Maybe you don't feel like the same employee who used to stay late every day or come in early or go to happy hour and network all the time. Maybe it's the wife guilt. You feel guilty that you're not giving your spouse enough attention or doing sweet things for them or cooking their favorite meals. Or maybe the biggest one of all, I think, is the guilt for you. Maybe you feel guilty doing anything for yourself, like spending money on yourself, taking time to get your nails done, leaving the kids at home to go for a walk alone, not pushing a stroller, coming to live trainings or like listening to podcasts or, doing some personal or professional development for yourself. All of these things can make you feel guilty, can be the root of mom guilt. And guilt goes hand in hand with time because guilt stops us. Guilt stops us from committing to change. It stops us from doing things. It stops us from keeping up with things. Guilt is a real bitch. So it is equally as important to learn how to manage your guilt as it is to manage your time. Because again, you can do all the things when it comes to time management. Like you can get the right system. You can commit to your goals. You can organize your life to a T. You can be flexible AF when life gets in the way. You can do it all right. And if you don't know how to manage your guilt, you will inevitably let go of all of that. You will let that one feeling, that one tiny feeling get in the way of all the work you've already done. Can you even imagine the time, the money, the energy, the planning, all of that will be worthless if you can't get a handle on your guilt? This stuff can feel really, really heavy, but it is 1000% legit. And this is something, like I mentioned, we dive into quite a bit in the time management 4-week program. So I want to tell you a story. I share this story in my book, Time Management, How to Get the Time You Need to Do the Things You Want. And I think it fits so well here when it comes to guilt management, because I feel like so many of us can really relate to a situation like this. So a few years ago, I was a very busy corporate working mom. I would commute to San Francisco about an hour, door to door each way. And I was busy, right? You can imagine, like always on the go, the hustle bustle of the everyday working mom life. Well, one day I get this email in my personal email, and it was an Evite, and it was an invitation to go to this thing called Mom's Day Away. This was a day where a group of moms was organizing this, where we would get a party bus and we would go up to Napa Valley, which is not too far from where we all live. And we would spend the day in Napa Valley wine tasting. And on this party bus, nobody had to think about driving, like having a beautiful lunch together, the scenery, all the things, right? And at first you hear this and you're like, wow, that sounds incredible. Yes, sign me up, right? Where do I pay? How do I make this happen? But for me, even though I felt that initially, I didn't RSVP right away. In fact, I didn't RSVP until I got called out for not RSVPing past the RSVP date. I was that person that needed to be emailed individually to be like, are you in or out? Like, what's up? And that's so not like me. I mean, damn it, I'm a time momager. Like, I'm on top of my shit. So the reason was guilt. Okay. I felt tremendous guilt about signing up and saying yes to this day. What kind of guilt did I feel? Well, I felt working mom guilt. I'm going to spend an entire weekend day away from my kids. I barely see these kids as it is. I'm at work all the time. I felt financial guilt. I'm going to be dropping a ton of money on this experience and then I'm going to have nothing to show for it at the end of the day. I felt other guilt just about my own like routines on the weekend, right? That Saturday was like my catch up day, my day to do my food shopping, my cleaning, my laundry, my meal planning, all the errands that needed to get done to keep the house going. And I felt guilt about, just pushing all that to the side and going on this day trip for the day. So I got called out. I took a deep breath and I said, so sorry, told a white lie and said I had forgotten to RSVP. Wasn't entirely true. And I said yes. I said yes. And let me tell you something. Not only was this day super fun, and I'm so thankful that I said yes to it for that reason, it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot. And the most important thing it taught me was if I'm not saying yes to things like this, if I'm not having fun and doing these sort of things for myself and setting that example, how are my kids going to do that for themselves? If I'm not loving me, how are they going to love them? This was a game changer for me. So there are lots of ways you can manage guilt. But to me, again, this is by far the best one because I think we all strive in life to be the best possible mothers above anything and everything else we do. Think about it. When you are ultimately dead and someone is speaking at your eulogy, what do you want them to say? She was the hardest working nurse. She was the most talented designer. She was the most successful coach. Those would be nice things to say. But what do you really want them to say? You want them to say she was the best mom in the world. She did an incredible job raising her son or raising her daughter. She embodied everything she taught her kids. So here's what I mean by this. You can tell your kids to love themselves until you're blue in the face. You can even yell it at them after telling them 100 times in a normal parent voice. You can tell them every day and tell them every night. You can even ask them to repeat it back to you. But unless you're setting that example of loving yourself, of treating yourself with that level of respect, of living your best life, you cannot count on them to actually do it. In fact, you look like a hypocrite. You need to set the right example. And the way you do this is not letting your guilt get in the way of living your best life, of you spending your time in ways that make you feel good. So how do you do this? You choose what you want to do with your time with intention. You have control over it. You prioritize things that are important to you. You don't act resentful about not doing things you love because ultimately you can change that. You set the right example You practice what you preach. You embody how you're telling those little people to live by investing in yourself. And just like my story, I want you to understand that initially you may feel in these moments when you get asked, to come to Mom's Day Away or to do any of these things, like you may be feeling, what? No, I couldn't. That's not me. That's crazy. I feel guilty about it. I have been in those shoes. We have all been in those shoes. But when you sit with this, when you stop and think about it from the perspective of modeling how you want your kids to live their lives, how you want your kids to love themselves as much as you love them, you realize you're ultimately doing this for them. You managing your time, your life, your priorities in a way that models that you get to decide how you spend it is parenting in an exemplary way. By you not letting guilt stop you and you showing them that spending time on things that brings you joy, that fulfills you, that helps you grow and be healthy and happy, even during seasons where it might not feel possible, is teaching them to do the same. So there are lots of ways to invest in yourself. You're listening to this podcast right now. You're taking time to learn and to grow. You want to be the best version of yourself, and you can do that just by dedicating 20, 30 minutes, by listening to an episode of the show. You're taking those steps. And if this is something you're really, really serious about and you want to take further action, further steps, further strides on this journey of living your best freaking life, being the ultimate time momager and guilt momager, I need to tell you about how you can do that in the Time Management 4-week program. So this program is made for moms just like you. Moms who feel overwhelmed by the daily grind or are just going through the motions. Moms who are committed to regaining control of their time, their schedule, their lives. Moms who are ready to level up their mindset, their systems, their lifestyle. Moms who want to stop ending each day feeling exhausted and defeated, and instead go to sleep feeling satisfied and accomplished and proud and excited for the day ahead. This experience is designed to be completed over 4 weeks, and during that time, you gain access to weekly training videos to guide you along the path toward organizing your schedule, prioritizing what matters, and ultimately having and living your best life. To really customize the content of this and apply it to your specific life, you're going to receive resources and what I like to call time work, where you take what you've learned and you put it immediately into action. You implement small changes into your life and you start to see immediate results. Because I also know as busy moms, it can be hard to stay focused and accountable when you sign up for programs like these. I ensure that I am checking in with you daily on a daily basis. I share additional tips, strategies, support so you can stay on track. And at the end of this program, you feel just as strong as when you started it. You feel even stronger, actually. So this is not the type of course you sign up for that falls to the wayside after a week or two. You are in it to win it. It's important for me that you feel like your investment was worth double, maybe even triple what you paid because of all the amazing shifts that you experienced throughout this month. Is it a commitment? Yes. Yes, it is. You need to be focused. You need to do the work. You need to show up for yourself. But the program is designed to help you do that and help you continue to do that in areas of your life so you can stop feeling like your schedule is running you and start feeling like you are in control of your calendar, your commitments, your priorities, your life. Okay, so I am also offering right now a bonus session if you register by November 10th, which is next Wednesday. You will have access to an incredible workshop I'm running. Be sure to check the show notes for more details on this. I have it all laid out there, only and exclusively for people who sign up between now and November 10th. That's it. So a special bonus just for you. Are you in? What do you think? Do you want to stop letting mom guilt get in the way of all the things you want to do? Do you want to stop letting her stomp all over your clean floors or sing your favorite song off tune when you're trying to just rock out and karaoke that shit on your own? Do you want to enjoy life without the constant reminder that you probably should be doing something else right now? Yes, please. I'm sure you're raising your hand with me. I am. Let's go. I've got limited availability and a spot with your name on it. Save your seat today so we can get started on this journey toward making you a time momager. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting me in your space, your very crowded head space, I bet. And I hope this episode resonated with you and gives you some insight in this mom life we're all living. You've been listening to the Mama Work It podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and would love if you could take a quick minute to leave me a review on whichever platform you're listening from, and maybe even send a note to a fellow mama friend recommending it. Reviews and recs help this podcast grow and reach more like-minded, awesome moms. And if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click that button so we can stay in touch, girl. By the way, if you haven't checked out the Mama Work It website, please do. There are lots of free resources and great articles there that can help you with the juggle of work life, mom life, wife life, fill in the blank life. So head on over. Thanks again for being part of the tribe. I'll see you soon, but in the meantime, keep on working it, mama.